Visit citizensaneradio.com to listen to more free podcasts and past shows.
Right, we've got Kenneth Dudley on this evening, and by the sound of it, he's been talking to John B. Alexander, who is my favourite person to hate in the world. Not that I'm actually a hater, but if I'm going to have that emotion, which I am because I'm human, I'm going to send it somewhere, and he can have it all. Yeah, Mr. Jedi lunatic. So you've been having it out with John B. Alexander on Facebook.
Yeah, I was talking to him on Facebook. He came over on my wall and posted some sort of a comment about a post I had today on Facebook. It was from an article where he had written that disclosure had already happened and that just no one paid attention to it in the news media. And it's been an ongoing thing. And I challenged him on it because as far as I know, disclosure hasn't really happened yet.
No, it has not.
We got in kind of a back-and-forth thing about it.
If you're an up-your-own-ass pedant, like he is, then, well, yes, it has, because I've disclosed, you've disclosed. Anybody who said, I've seen this has disclosed. We've had 400 disclosure witnesses. Although you wouldn't know it the way that Stephen Greer's carrying on at the moment. You think that he was the entire disclosure project, and you cannot be serious. Right? But
Stephen Greer, he's so dreamy.
It's just ridiculous. That film was painful. I
refuse to watch it. I will not watch Cyrus.
Right, okay, well, you see, I refused to watch it, and then I had all these people coming at me, and I thought, well, I've got to watch it. Within the first 20 minutes, I had my head in a bucket. He is like, oh, yeah, I'm the only person that's really trying. I'm the only one who's taking any risks, and E.T. are all benevolent, man. And no, they're not, right? There's good and bad in everything, and that was the biggest ego fart I have ever seen in my life, and there's no need for that many crotch shots. Can we have, like, you know, face shots or something off in the distance? We do not need to see the bodyguard in shots. What was that about? And who is the commander? I mean, all right, I'm going to have gone off on here because we were talking at John B. Alexander, but, oh, my God, that film was awful.
Well, yeah, it's the same mentality, you know, the big alpha male type thing. Stephen Greer went off the rails, 12 years ago. He jumped.
Project. What is this thing with him?
He's not jumping the shark. He's jumping like a unicorn, and he's, he's riding the unicorn, jumping over a rainbow.
Yeah. Sorry, Ken.
Yeah.
Let's get back to
please.
About JB. I digressed slightly there, but oh my God, I've been bursting to say that. So he's like, what's he saying? Please tell me, because
yeah, I pretty much support anybody that's trying to bring about disclosure, and because that's the most important thing in my book is that we need to get this word out to the public because they don't put it on regular TV or regular, anywhere else.
Only in America and only in England. The rest of the world, they're quite open and talking about it, like, like a reality.
It's like taboo here in the States. I mean, people just don't believe you because they've been brainwashed for all these 60 or 70 years by the mass media that UFOs don't exist and aliens don't exist. So people don't even talk about it over here. They joke about it.
Yeah.
But those same people are going to church. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot of it's just the regular people. It's just beyond their belief. And the only reason, I believe in it is because I had a personal experience, a close encounter. So I had to start doing my own research and my own investigation into it.
Yeah, you didn't have a wake-up call. You had a wake-up slap in the face. You can't when you have to stop your car on the middle of the interstate highway to let a big, giant saucer with a dome take off, you got to reanalyze everything is what you got to do. Yeah, talk about having a pole shift. Yeah.
Listen, there's going to be no official disclosure in this country ever. And same within Britain, same with these people. It's too much of a, who's going to disclose it? Who actually has the right or the rights to all this information? Who actually owns it and takes responsibility for it? Nobody knows. It's definitely not the civil government like Obama, and the people that we elect. They may get some sort of briefing on something if it pertains to them in any way. But I think the last president that really had any sort of briefing was the first George Bush. Yeah, the first George Bush. I mean, because he was all his time in the CIA, and all that stuff. Yeah. Listen, man, people snicker at UFOs and little green men and all that stuff because, they have an ingrained belief system already instilled at them when they're younger, with God and religion and all this stuff. I mean, that's huge.
Hey, hang on a minute, though. That's like way old. That's like our old, yeah? I've got little kiddies that have been brought up on the whole shebang. You cannot escape it these days. So, we need to work. I mean, when my little boy, who's 4 now, when he's 21, yeah, where the hell are we going to be with it all then? Oh, my God, if nothing's changed by then.
No, we're not going to be anywhere. Look, we're exactly. Actually, we've regressed because
I don't know if that's true.
I do, because back in the 50s and the 60s, it was mainstream.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
I'm not that old, right? I'm not as old as you guys.
It was. Hey, I'm only a couple years older than you. I just, it was mainstream. I mean, they were flying over Washington, and we were scrambling jets. We're still scrambling jets. It's just, it's all completely denied. Like the Phoenix Lights, when that happened, when that, that mile-long thing came down, there were guys at Luke Air Force Base that said they went on lockdown and they scrambled a bunch of jets at this thing. So, and it's same with Stevensville. Stevensville had the same thing,
Why are they scrambling jets, though? I mean, do they know what these things are, or do they not know what these things are?
Who knows? And you know what? If they did disclosure, it would just open up such a Pandora's box, if you really think about it.
Yeah. There are a lot of stupid
people. I really don't think we have a choice. See, with the nuclear age is when a lot of this UFO activity started to come up in the 40s, on into the 50s, 60s, right up to now, and it's a lot of it's nuclear related, these sightings and stuff.
And I have a good theory about that.
I have an even better one.
Listen, we live in a physical world. There are a lot of things about physics and stuff like that we don't understand. And we could do things in this realm or in this dimension that totally affects, other dimensions or other
realms.
Other like that we share the same space with, they
live here too. You see, they live here too.
If we blow up a nuclear bomb, think about what that entails. What all that? I mean, that's the power of the freaking sun.
We've created thousands of sun in the air. We've detonated thousands of suns on the ground. We've destabilized the atmosphere so much that every nation on Earth has agreed not to let off a nuclear weapon in or on the air or Earth since 1989, and they have done that. Do you know what I mean?
On a subatomic. I mean, there could be another realm out there or whatever that we're sharing the same space with. We blow up a nuclear bomb, that could cause a ripple effect going through, other, it depends on your views on physics and stuff like that, but it could have a ripple effect on a subatomic level going a long ways,
Right. Well, the guy that created the bomb said it was the destroyer of worlds. And that
Yeah,
could
we have
mean
no
that
idea
there's
how
other
that-
worlds here, and we could be destroying their world, and it could be a problem.
Sure, you know, and these things, these guys are like, hey, we gotta watch these little monkeys now know how to, you know, do some.
Well, yeah, we can destroy a lot of stuff now. Maybe a long time ago we could kill each other; it wouldn't make any difference. But now we affect
can kill everything.
The whole universe we affect.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? My theory, right? I have a theory from Rendlesham Forest that Rendlesham Forest was that whole incident was a behavioural sciences research project and weapons technology test. Now, I actually thought that any incident that happened on any nuclear base in the world from 1975 onwards was to do with this, right? But it left loads of questions unanswered, and Guy was the one that came in and gave me that like little final blob of information or idea that, you know, if these things are going on, if our nuclear weapons industry was in such a state, right, and we were in danger of actually completely wiping off half of the face of the earth from this weapons dump that we had in the middle of the country, which everybody thought was at Greenham Common, but wasn't. It was actually at Bentwaters and Woodbridge. You know, if this was going to have such a devastating effect here and in other places, then it would absolutely make sense that any extraterrestrial or interdimensional or extra-dimensional race would give a shit also, because, you know, it's going to affect them. So, if,
yes,
you know,
I agree.
I could say that E.T. and the pesky humans were actually working in together, and maybe even at the behest of these extra-dimensionals, interdimensionals, extraterrestrials, whatever they are, because if we create this kind of incident, then it's going to affect everything, not just us.
Yeah, and it can also be a case of, you know, hey guys, we're watching you, and they're making and they're making their presence known at these certain sites, you know, saying, hey guys, you know, we're still here, you know, stop effing around, you know, and so they just start disabling stuff, and they start. You know.
You guys know Robert Salas, right?
Oh my God, I love that man. Yes.
Yes.
Robert Salas is a really nice man. I met him and his wife up in Ojai, California, and got to visit with him this last summer when I was on the West Coast.
I met him.
And that guy really has it together. He really knows stuff that most people don't know.
Well, he was the one that made me that kind of swayed me, because I was thinking, well, because when you catch on to something like this, you think, well, maybe it's all that. But you know, when he was when he was on duty that night, there's no bloody way. He wasn't even upstairs. He's not even seen anything going on. Those nukes were interfered with by something else, you know, for sure. And then like with yours in '73 as well, Ken. You know what I mean? Before I actually was thinking maybe E.T. and the humans are having to work together, I would have actually relegated your incident in '73 to this kind of project, or maybe a precursor to the project, you know, because it didn't start till '75. But, you know, I don't know. I know that I've seen UFOs. I know that I've seen E.T. So we've just got to, like, you just got to kind of put the two together in your head and just get over it, haven't you?
Well, you know, for a long while, people only thought there was like, you know, Brentwaters. And then people found out there was other missile bases that similar events happened to. Yeah. And I think the last count I had was about 15 different military bases had UFO intervention at them, like Brentwaters. 15 different military bases.
That's amazing. And what is the time frame there, then, Ken? What you know, what years are we talking from until in that?
We're talking from 1940 in the White Sands Missile Range, where they first tested our first interballistic missiles, to the 40s, to the 50s, bases in the 60s, 70s, the 80s, even the famous Roswell, New Mexico base. On my Facebook page, I have the affidavit of the gentleman that was in the missile silo at Roswell Air Force Base, Army Base. And he said that they had UFO intervention at Roswell, New Mexico. I think he said somewhere between 6 and 10 times in the 63, 64, 65. UFOs, just like Robert Salas's base, came up and checked out their missile silos and their nuclear weapons. That was Roswell, New Mexico, where supposedly a balloon crashed, remember?
Yeah. One hell of a balloon, that. Do you know what? It's funny, though. That is the first story that I ever heard about UFOs when I was a kid, and it was my mum that told me it. Because when she had me, it was 1970, height of the Cold War, and there was all the fear of everybody being blown to bits. And the only thing that made her feel safe in that time, because she was suffering from postnatal depression after having me, was Robert Salas and his story of these UFOs switching the nukes off and turning, and changing the codes. So when I met him last year, it was amazing, because I said to him, you were the first UFO story I ever heard. I was about 9. Crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they've been around since the beginning of time. I think they're coming and going all the time. I've heard there could be as many as 140 different species of aliens coming and going from Earth over the years. So.
Well, listen, we can see planets right now in other galaxies. In other galaxies, we can see them. We can detect them. What makes you think, a race, the race, the mind just boggles. If you really look at the universe or just go outside at night.
You don't even have to look that far away. You just look at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah, just look up, just all those stars, and they're looking, they're I think our DNA or the building blocks of life is a common thing in the universe. Yeah. I don't think that.
Well, that was the whole NASA announcement, wasn't it? In about 2010. Yeah. Ooh, we found life on another planet. It was amino acids that could, transmute some. I don't know. They found amino acids in mercury, in meteorites.
Did you guys see what John Alexander? Do you know who John Alexander is exactly?
Yes.
People over there, as far as who he is.
Absolutely do. Yeah.
Yeah.
The military.
He was right on my Facebook page that he told Nick Pope that the UFOs are real and the aliens are real. He said right on my Facebook page. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
No, I've not seen that, but that's an interesting turn-up, because last year, the year before, when I brought out my rentals from Forest area, he was saying, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, my God, make your mind up.
He was still being the, I know who he is. He's still being the
mysterious Jedi.
Yeah, and stuff like that, trying to,
well, listen, right, when I came out that theory, with that theory, if people like John B. Alexander are coming crawling out of their little golem caves, then I'm saying something that's of no, because why would anybody like that even bother with somebody like me?
Yeah, and
because they're getting worried, that's why.
Well, they can kiss my hiney.
Well,
you had documentation. You didn't just pull something out of your butt, like most of these people do.
When you start getting close to the truth, all of a sudden they all want to know what's going on.
Yeah, and they want to tell you that you don't know what's going on. I was saying
you don't know.
How the hell would he know? I said, I passed this, it was like Jerry Pippin who was acting as go-between between me and John B. Alexander. Oh, boy, I don't think John would have wanted me to have his email address, seriously. But for everything that he said, that my theory didn't work, I had a reason to say, you wouldn't know that. Just because you were part of the military doesn't mean to say you know everything about what was going on at that time. He was too busy off his face on acid, staring at goats, man, and walls, and what all that bloody weird that they were up to. Do you know what I mean?
Well, John Alexander is the one that set Bigelow Aerospace up with the contract from the United States government to take all the FAA reports from the pilots and
they do. Yeah.
And then pretend he doesn't know what they're really up to.
It's actually like in their manual.
Aliens, why take a report?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in their manual or whatever. It says, the contact end us. I about fell out of my chair when I first saw that. I was like, what?
Oh, my God. When I saw that Bigelow and him were working together, I was like, oh, this has got to be a case of keep your friends close and your frenemies closer. Do you know what I mean? Because he knows everybody. He is that, when I even look at his eyes and I look at his face, I just think there's something...
Well, he's the one that set Bigelow up with the government. He's the government go-between, John B. Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the big dog.
And that's worrying. Somebody like that still fingers in
pants.
Well,
I mean, see, so
he should be in jail.
On them, and when you put pressure on them, all of a sudden they start worrying, and that's what's happening, okay?
Well, I kind of don't have the same view as everybody about Bigelow. You know what I mean? I have this little fantasy going on in my head that is like Tony Stark of Stark Industries, you know, in Iron Man. that he's actually got one of these suits and he's sort of flying around and doing all this, you know, building hospitals, hopefully, up in space. Not weapons.
No, they would only want to deal with one person instead of, or one organization than having to deal with or field questions or field requests from other groups like MUFON and everyone else. Bigelow's got the money, he's got the contacts. You know, he's kind of like the guy from John Hurt in Contact, the light. You know what I mean? He's just under the radar, kind of, you know. And
yeah, he's got all the big NASA contracts down here in Houston now. Yeah.
Is that a good or a bad thing? I mean, I don't know, because at the end of the day, this guy is spending money on stuff that we, if we had the money, would spend it on. Do you know what I mean? Well, if I was him, I would be doing exactly the same thing, and I would be telling the entire UFO community to kiss my backside and get away from me, because you are a bunch of mental freaks.
And that's why there's no disclosure. You know, listen, it just kind of goes along with one of my theories that it's all been farmed out. It's all corporate. All this information is not just within the government. All of these private corporations are actually fingers or tentacles or whatever of these people that are in control of this data. That's all it is. They're in control of data.
There's no question about it. This is a corporation deal. They're all intertwined. The intelligence, like the CIA, the FBI, the big corporations like Boeing and all of them, including Bigelow Aerospace, and the military and its contracts. It's contractors. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, but they stiff every single one of them. When Boeing asked if they could use their own technology to electrify the whole of their planes and make their planes go faster and reduce fuel consumption, they were denied by the military complex to use their own technology to make flight faster, cheaper.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's wrong. That's wrong. If we've made these advances, we should be using them. Because, let's face it, this planet is choking to death because of us.
Yeah, but they don't give a crap about that. It's whoever, it's a matter of control. That's, again, why there'll be no disclosure.
I don't understand why they don't give a crap about it. It's their own air that they're breathing. I mean, come on, we all live in the same atmosphere.
But they don't look at they have a different worldview.
Well, that just goes to show how crazy they are and how they, you know... God.
You know, they
just think the regular people, the common man, can't handle it, and so they're just going to, you know, not involve them at all. It's all going to be a top secret corporation.
You know what, Kenneth? You know what, Kenneth? I don't even think it's a matter of us handling it.
We're already handling it. I've been handling it all my life. I deal with people every day who've been handling this all their life on their own. We're already there.
Yeah, but listen, Sacha, the majority of the world, or the majority of the Western world, is not. Okay, nobody's going to give up that control, that tech, that money, all of that.
Hey guys, we're not the top of the food chain. It's not going to be
armed out. Yeah, and that's another thing. You know, we're not. We're just. What do I keep saying? Oh, we're just meat. We're intelligent meat. You know, that's all we are, man. Think about it. You know?
Well, I think the world could change under certain conditions, but as long as we're going to start acting like 1984 or Brave New World or Fahrenheit 451, and it's going to be Big Brother, and they're going to put a drone over your head to keep an eye on you, you know, it's just it's the end of freedom as far as I'm concerned.
It is human nature to do what they are doing. Any one of us in their position would probably do the same thing, because there's information about a lot of things that I keep to myself because other people, one, haven't earned the right to have it because they would abuse it. You know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Well, it's hard for me to trust the government, though, okay? Because, you know, they bankrupted Wall Street not too long ago, and that was all their creation. And do I trust them with the aliens?
No way.
No, they could screw that up, too, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they would, wouldn't they? If they had to disclose, they would not tell us the truth. If they stood there completely naked with the most sincerest look on their face and telling us about it, I'd be thinking, okay, what's this about? You know, this is not about disclosure. This is about some manipulation.
Let me make a point here. Would you think about how the majority of the people reacted to a black president, gays getting married, or whatever? Really think about it, what's going on, and do you think for a second that if they disclose that they are aliens or whatever walking around us, that these ignorant, these ignorant, racist, horrible, awful people would not react or would react with kindness and openness and stuff like that?
Oh, my God. Right, I'll tell you what.
You would have riots in the streets. You would have all of these churches going, Satan, Satan, Satan. Look, it's right here in the Bible. It's Revelations. It's all this stuff. These people are the devil, and that would be it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you'd have said this, 2 weeks ago, I would have disputed this. I would have said to you, no, religion would quickly assimilate this and blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you what, after those Boston bombings, and I saw the posts that were coming up within 15 minutes, that killing sand monkeys and all that. Now, I'll say to you, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
exactly. Right. It's the mindset. See, people think that we are so evolved and so intelligent and just so wonderful. Hey, we got all these gee whiz things. We grow stuff. We live in these little houses and we power it. You know, but you don't have control over crap.
You got to grow up sometime. You got to grow up sometime. So,
oh my God,
as far as I'm concerned, the people need to wake up. They need to grow up, and they need to get real. And that means they got to understand that the government's not working for them necessarily, okay?
Kenneth, the people aren't working for themselves. The government's not going to... The government could come out and say, pass all of these laws saying, yes, gay marriage is okay, racism is illegal, you can't do this and you can't do that. People are still going to do it, and they're still going to think the same way. What needs to happen, okay, is an event so earth-shaking that it completely shakes every human being to their foundations. What that is, I don't know.
Well, okay? I know exactly what it is. Set off a couple nukes and see what happens.
And it's going on all the time.
The finger pointing is going to be everything else. Listen, mankind is still I've said this so many times, but we are exactly the same as we were thousands and thousands of years ago. We just have better toys.
And
and you know, we have. Think of all the laws all the laws on the books around this planet to keep us in line from doing stupid crap. We are not going to be able to evolve or do anything or handle Space Brothers or Galactic Federation Allied or whatever, okay, until we can exist together with each other without these laws and just knowingly do the right things, to reach out and pick people up, to not put money and our selfish interests or other people or other species. When that happens, I'll jump on the bandwagon that humans are great, okay? Because
humans are humans, okay? They're just humans. The problem is they need to grow up and realize that they're not the only thing in the universe, okay? That's what they need to do.
But they want to be.
Yeah.
It makes us feel special. That makes us be the anointed ones, okay?
Right.
But you see, how many people have actually seen something that have had that paradigm shift that just don't even believe? My God, there's millions of us. I can't believe that all of these people that have at least seen UFOs, never mind had any abduction experiences, I can't believe they don't outweigh the people who haven't. I find that really hard to believe.
Listen, I know people that have paranormal experiences or they have things that happen and they block it out, or they say, I don't want this. I don't want to deal with this. I got $10,000 in credit debt. I'm trying to pay my mortgage. I got 3 kids I'm trying to think. I don't want to worry about a frickin' ghost. I don't want to, I don't want to...
Well, actually, don't you think that the opposite is true? That they're looking for all this stuff because they're actually searching for something more than what they've got in life. The amount of TV programs that they've got, there's,
it's all about distractions. Everybody's distracted about everything, And listen,
I'm just concerned. I'm concerned for the well-being of Earth, and I'm concerned about the well-being of all humans on Earth, and I'm concerned about the well-being of any aliens that might be coming and going to our planet. So I'm just looking at the big picture, and that's what I do on my investigation. I really don't have tunnel vision. I try to open every door, turn over every rock, listen to every story, and I don't try to be narrow-minded at all about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you're a rare breed, Ken, then, because people like to pigeonhole everything, and they're cruel. Some people are cruel to every little bit of life on this planet, so why would they not be cruel to every bit of life off the planet?
I mean, for all I know, we may have captured and tortured aliens. Heck, I don't know, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility in my book.
Oh, no way. No, we would definitely do that. We would definitely do that if we got our hands on one. I mean, no doubt about it. And even by torture doesn't have to be specifically hurting. The fact that it's been isolated and kept away from its own kind, that's torture enough for me. That's that's isolation, isn't it?
Well, there's 2 ways to think about this alien thing. One is, they would just come in and wipe us out, or 2, they would be smart about it, come in and make a few deals with a few big figures around the world and say, listen, we need this, we need that. We need y'all to work for us, and this is how it's going to all go down. So, you could be taken over without, taking over the planet, really, as far as, military type thing. You could just make a deal with somebody like Eisenhower back, years ago and say, listen, we're here, we want this. So, but I just don't trust the government. That's what my big problem is, you see. I call them lions.
Well, when you say government, Kenneth, what government are I talking to you?
I'm talking about the federal government because they're in charge of this cover-up. And it looks like it's the Central Intelligence Agency is the one that's leading this cover-up.
I would agree with you.
And I don't even think a lot of the military people, Army, Navy, Air Force, or any of those people know what some of these CIA guys are up to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and I think the Navy really knows it all. This is where it's at. I mean, they have control of every bit of space from the bottom of the sea to as far up as you can go in the atmosphere and out, they're the ones who are in control of all that. They are the ones who have the arrays.
I mean, I look at the CIA kind of like the KGB in Russia. You know, they're control freaks, the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely.
Yeah. Well, if you're doing what they're supposedly doing, or what a lot of people think they're doing, you would have to be control freak. You would have to be. Your change control policies would just be out of this world. You wouldn't be able to blink at certain or make eye contact with certain people. I mean, it gets down to that type of stuff.
Well, CIA always says stands for control it all, not Central Intelligence Agency.
Yeah, and they've been in everybody's business since they started. I mean, that's why the Middle East really hates America, because we've been in their business, overthrowing governments and just doing all sorts of crap.
Yeah, in every single country in the world.
Yeah.
That's how you make friends, overthrow every single country in the world. That'll do it.
Yeah, Hugo Chavez from Venezuela. I mean, that's why he hates us, because we tried to get a couple coups down there because
he was too good.
He wasn't playing ball. He had he had his own thing going on. He had his own industry. He didn't need us, and we kept saying, "You do need us," and he kept saying, "No, I don't." And so we tried to overthrow him, and he kind of just went. And
isn't it funny, because all of the American people, all of the English people would want a social system like that. One that works and one that was for the people.
One that's, you have, I'm not even going to get into that, but,
no.
That's just capitalism is I couldn't imagine any other country like the U.S. Out there. I mean, it would just be, can you imagine if there was another United States out there with our system, our economics and stuff like that out there?
You were saying about the government. You were saying, what did I mean about the government? Well, it doesn't matter if the Republicans are in office or the Democrats are in office. They all do the same thing. There's really not much difference between them.
I know. But listen, there is the elected civil government,
puppet show,
which does the day-to-day stuff and works on, Then there is the other government, other facets of government that never go away. And
you don't know who they are either.
Yeah, if you are, say, replaced, it's usually a bullet to the head or some other thing,
Concrete slippers.
Yeah, it's that type of government. It's the whole military, corporate, everything from JPL, Skunk Works, all of that is what is controlling this information and this tech. Okay? People like Obama.
The information's out there. It's really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is on some level.
I think it's all out there, but it's buried in such a pile of garbage.
Yeah,
look at Bob. Oh my God, you could drown.
Look at Bob Lazar. People say Bob Lazar is a fake and a phony and all this stuff, and he's not who he say he is. Do you know what Bob Lazar's company does that he started? Bob Lazar's company makes that lighter than air gel that they put in those satellites to go out there and catch comet fragments and then come back to the Earth. Okay?
Well, he didn't get to let us do that being the T-boy, did he?
That's right. He didn't learn, and he didn't know how to think about though what it takes to make that stuff so it's not contaminated, so it ends up being put in a satellite and stays sterile and non-contaminated, goes out there, catches stuff, comes back, staying non-contaminated, being able to take it to a lab and have those microscopic particles taken out. That's what he does. Okay?
Right, and they've reversed that alien technology. They've got it.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is it totally gives credit to what Bob Lazar said out there, okay? You can go in, anybody can go in and with especially with the frickin' Patriot Act right now, governments can go in, or a Homeland Security or CIA or FBI can go into a college and say, due to national security, I want these records purged. And poof, they're gone. They've disappeared. They were never at that school. There are no records of them at that school. They can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That happens over here. We have military projects within universities that people have no clue about.
Yeah.
All these projects that are funded, and these students are being watched basically for certain kinds of talent, and as soon as they're swallowed up into a research project. It's taken top secret. A special part of the university is all done out to sort of secret them all away, and then you never know about it or hear from them again, because once they're in that thing, cradle to grave, see ya.
Oh yeah, man, and that's what a lot of these kids are striving for. They're striving for that. That's the way they think. They think the same way as the people.
They come out of the schools and they go into the corporations, and they're corporate people.
Yeah.
They're already that way. They already work in that mindset. That everybody else is beneath them. That's what it is. They're beneath me. It's not just a skill set that they have to have. They have to have a sort of like a mantra that they go by, or how they live their life to be a reliable
robot.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be a whole list of tangibles that they have to have. I mean, they have to be a certain type of person psychologically, a certain type of person, with their relationships, all of that. That's all taken into account, and it's not just a short thing that they do. I mean, it's over years. Yeah. And as these people pass these tests and they are able to be molded a certain way, that's when they start getting into the good stuff. That's when they, that's when they start being able to get in and do these projects and this sort of thing. Listen,
I just don't understand how nobody's got a conscience anymore. These people.
No,
are they a completely different species to us, or what?
No. You start really just stroking someone's ego, throwing money at them, telling them that they're special. All of that goes away.
Oh my God, I can't believe that, because that makes me feel so uncomfortable. I'd be going, what are you grooming me for, you big pedo?
I'm seeing.
What do you think? Do you think he was a top secret military United States spaceship at Rendlesham Forest, or do you think it was an alien ship?
I don't think it was either. I think it was actually a portal device that was part of what became the MAID system. It was like a fencing system, basically. Each one of the pyramids, I believe that there were 3, which tallies with the landing sites, and there had to be 3 to make the connection with the laser, the ultra-low frequency modulator, and the electromagnetic radiation. That they had this bunched coaxial cable that they called the starfish now. This was heard to be said on the Halt tape as well about the starfish. So the starfish was a sort of like leaky bunched coaxial cable which emitted an electromagnetic field which created unease like it does. And also then they use the ultra low frequencies to further add that element to it, because what they wanted to do was make somebody ill or frightened within a certain radius to the perimeter of this fence, so they wouldn't go any further into the area. I can explain the technology to you another time. It's absolutely complicated, but it's what we use in guided surgery now, in robotic surgery. So I do believe the guys all saw what they saw, and then they believed that what they thought was they were going through, because they've been let believe this. Yeah, the right people weren't there for it to be a UFO sighting. If there was a crashed or landed UFO anywhere, there would be helicopters, there would be jeeps, there would be streams of people coming in from every bloody doorway, every gate, every road, every part of that area. I know that area very well. It's so isolated. There'd be nobody, hardly any of the villagers would know about it, like they didn't. Do you know what I mean? It was very, very well done.
Well, I've heard other reports of triangular ships seen in...
Yeah, but you see, we've got anti-gravitic technology. We've had it since the 50s, Ken. This stuff was anti-gravitic. I'm telling you, it moved. These things, these black pyramids that Jim saw, were the perfect angle, the perfect shape to stack ionized radiation to give it the lift, to give it the polarity from the Earth's own magnetic field, and I think it gave it lift. And I am totally, I'm not totally convinced about that they were so technologically advanced that they could maneuver through the forest perfectly. But going up and down, yeah, definitely.
Well, you knew both Jim and John were debriefed with sodium pentothal by the CIA.
Amytal. They were debriefed with sodium amytal, actually, not pentothal. It was completely different. We've got evidence to show this. Larry Warren found this. Larry Warren's a very, very good friend of mine because of all this, and some stuff's come out recently since this binary BS. Wow, I didn't swear. Well done to me.
Yeah. So how do you know they didn't screw with their minds when they debriefed?
They did screw with their minds, Ken. I am 100% convinced of this. I said those guys were drugged. Those guys were tortured. Everybody said, no, they weren't. Shut up, you idiot. Then about 2 months later, Charles Holt comes out and says, I am 100% convinced that this actually happened. If I hadn't have gone absolutely nuts about the Holt tape, if you look on my notes, on my Facebook page, I have got a transcript of a tape, of the Holt tape, but the Holt recording was removed, and what is underneath that is somebody being tortured. It's not a popular post, it's not a popular idea, but if I hadn't have brought that out and said all that, and had Linda Moulton Howe jumping all over my crap, and me slamming it in her face and saying, you haven't even had time to look at this, that is not research, you're just dismissing people with your reputation. If I hadn't have had that massive argument with her, it wouldn't have had all that attention, right, and Charles Holt wouldn't have come out and said, I'm 100% sure that this actually happened. So I am totally in agreement with you there, Ken. They were definitely messed with. All of them.
Well, Holt said in Las Vegas this last year, when Alexander was in Las Vegas, Nick Pope was in Las Vegas at the Atomic Testing Museum, Holt said that the United States government was covering up the truth about aliens and UFOs, is what he stated at that meeting.
But he was only the deputy base commander, right? He was only the deputy. He was not the base commander at that time, And all of this project that the Department of Naval Affairs conjured up, which was a 10-year project that actually happened, yeah, with all of the research papers and everything. You've got JCOR involved in this and all of those big companies, right? This happened. So no, and they didn't want anybody to know about it, right up to the upper echelons. This was to be a secret. No rank excluded. So not one single person, not Charles Holt, not anybody else who was not Stickler or anyone else on the base, and certainly not John B. Alexander. He wouldn't know. Nobody would know because they wanted nobody to know. They wanted to know who was hiding in their bases. They had subversive elements in there. They wanted to get into a base. They wanted to steal some material. Now, the only thing for me that was missing to actually make all this, pull it together, was the fact that I needed some nukes to have gone missing. Now, if you watch that Old Boys Club video with Bob Dean and Clifford Stone talking to each other, they say that Charles Holt told them that the ET didn't just come into the base, they actually stole some nukes. Now, that was it for me. That was when I was utterly convinced. I will stake my entire life, and I have, on this.
I do not put 1 ounce of weight into anything that Clifford Stone says.
Maybe not. Maybe not. It doesn't matter.
Not one. And you know what?
It wasn't him. It was Charles Holt that said it to him and Bob Dean. This is 2 people saying the same thing, yeah? So regardless of what you think about these people, the one bit of missing puzzle was that, and I found it within a week of even all this coming out. Do you know what I mean?
Holt know that nuke's stolen.
Well, I'm sure that it did. Do you know what I mean? They weren't actually nukes. They weren't actually stolen. They weren't stolen by any subversive element. They were stolen by a black hat or white hat team, which was what they had, stalking the base. And it says in these documents, finding out where there's nothing like lying in the forest, in the snow, waiting and watching to find out where the cookie jar is. The whole thing that they explained in this document was that these bases, twin bases, next to the sea, next to a nuclear power plant, next to the forest, right? This was the scenario they were painting. This is the most kind of dangerous place that we could have. And they had it. And so I think that's why they chose Bentwaters and Woodbridge.
Right. And people have to understand that the Cold War, okay, it was...
And remember, the Cold War between Russia and the rest of the world, who's there? Us, in the UK. We were called Airstrip 1 because we were the last landing pad between anywhere else in Europe and the Ruskies.
Right. Now, the Cold War, I've seen Sacha's documentation. It's all legit. They were doing a lot of experimentation on people in these bases to see how they would react under certain situations. And like you said before, no commanding officer on the bank or even higher or on the base or even higher knew anything because it defeats the whole purpose. Okay, whether they use, and this also kind of ties in with John Vasquez with Fort Benning, and it's just all kind of seems kind of it's kind of weird. Okay, now I was on when it came to Rendlesham, I was on the side of that it was an actual UFO encounter, and I still kind of believe that. But when Pendleton came out with the whole, oh yeah, I have this piece of paper full of ones and zeros, and it's this whole space brother crap. That's when
No, future people crap.
Yeah, future people. Yes, yeah, I know. Yes, that's what it was. And well, it's hard to keep track of these idiots, Sacha. You know what I mean? So I kind of jumped back on the fence, and Sacha's got a good point with a lot of this because there's tangible documentation saying this is what we're going to do. It's there. It's from the Pentagon. It's from.
Yeah, but this is this is a 10-year thing, and there are 10 sets of documents. So the first one goes, "This is what we're going to do," and the second one goes, "This is what we're going to do now, but this is what we've done," etc., 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 etc. And the final one is only on microfilm in the Pentagon. Can't get your hands on it. Ken, if you're into that sort of thing, if you can get hold of that, I'll marry you. I'm not bothered. I'll commit all kinds of adultery.
I have to tell you the truth. I personally, you each have your viewpoint of what happened at Rendlesham, but to me, what it was a top secret United States interplanetary spaceship that we've been testing since like the 1960s. And these things are flying around all over. We get these triangle reports coming in all over the United States.
They could have got all these places that they could test it out like this.
And what happened was somebody said, UFOs. I'll hear all these security guards run out the woods to see what's out there, and it's a top secret United States ship over a United States base. And maybe it was an experiment. Maybe they wanted to see how the security guards would react to something that was unexplained.
We need to recruit people into working with them because the government are actually working with, and they are probably working with ET. And what a perfect kind of scenario to choose people who do not lose the plot when they come face to face with ET. Do you know what I mean? We need to find people to work on this stuff. And how do you test?
They're not. It's like religion. They've already got the story, how they want the story, and they don't want to rock the boat. This is facts to them. It's like
they tried to
that's just the way it is.
The old lighthouse story. But the White House story don't fly, okay?
No. Listen. We got about a minute and a half before we go to break, Count Sacha. I want to get into more of this because personally, being someone who has been involved in technology all my life and really, it's ingrained in my life. I don't believe that we have the tech to do what you guys are saying that we did.
It wasn't successful, though. None of it was successful, apart from penetrating the base. The technology was pretty much, in the beginning of it all, epic fail. You know, I think the one that Larry saw at Capel Green had actually fallen out of the sky and crashed. You know, and to be honest, what I want to hear from Ken is what happened in 1973, because this is before this Department of Naval Affairs instigated project. So anything before that, I'm willing to accept as ET. Anything 75 to at least. And 85,
it was with the nuclear regulatory group that runs around that George Knapp ran into outside of Needles after that one supposed UFO crash seen by that guy on that boat. He ran into that whole, it's like a whole private army of these guys. And
but I've got also documentation that has been actually viewed by Stanton Freeman, etc. I've had other people look at it that say that it's genuine. It's UFO protocol it's protocol for UFO incidents at home, USA, and overseas, anywhere else. So there is an actual unit that deals with this, and this has been going since 1952.
Okay, so we're going to go on break for 10 minutes, and
we'll listen to Ken then and shut up a bit.
Yeah, on and on. And the next hour, I want to hear about 1973 and your views on a lot of this stuff. Okay?
Definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
That's no problem.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in like 10 minutes.
Visit citizensaneradio.com to listen to more free podcasts and past shows. Paranormal and controversial radio, based on real events with real people.
So, Ken, right, what I really want to know is, because you are into everything and you are into all the same things as me, we really need to have a conversation off air as well, and even possibly have you back again soon, because there's so many things that we have that are really like, my thing and your thing. But what was it, right, that you went through? Because this is something that I've been dying to know, because I haven't actually looked into it, because sometimes when I'm talking to a new guest, I want to be spontaneous, So what happened to you?
Well, basically what happened was I was living in California with my girlfriend in 1973, and I was from Missouri, so we had traveled from California to back toward Missouri across Interstate Highway 70, and it was October of that year. Now, 1973, you have to go back quite a ways to get there.
I was 3.
there was a war going on. There was a war going on in the Middle East, and it was the Syrian war. It was a war between Syria and Israel.
Yeah, my dad was in that. He was in Aden. That's where he got his combat PTSD, actually, what I was just telling you about. I know.
In 73, this war was going on, and Russia had just tested a nuclear weapon the month before, and so the Russians at that time were on pretty much on the Syrian side of things, and we were pretty much on the Israel side of things. So there was friction between Russia and the United States in October 1973 over this Israeli-Syrian war. And our military missile Air Force people who run the missile silos, like Robert Salas, they had gone to what they call a status called DEFCON 3, DEFCON 3. Now, if you Google that, you're going to find out that in October 1973, when this war was going on,
we all nearly
went
died.
to alert status. That's one of the highest launch status things we've had, and we haven't had one since then except 9/11, which we temporarily went to that status. But anyway, so everybody was freaking out. We were on our way back on Interstate 70. Of course, the Vietnam War was going on at the time also. And we were coming through a part of Utah that there was nothing out there, just mountains and trees, and it was dark that night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And when you go in the mountains, you go up the mountains, and then you go into the mountain valley, and then back up the next mountain into the next mountain valley. And I was just cresting the top of this one mountain and started to drop off of it, and some deer had run out right in front of me, like 6 deer, and I had to stop my car to keep from hitting them. And as I picked up speed and came off the top of this ridge, mountain, and started down into this, like, gorge area, something caught my attention to my left, and so I turned and looked up the gorge, and coming down the gorge, traveling roughly the same speed I was this saucer with a dome, and the saucer was rotating one direction, and the dome was rotating the opposite direction, and there was no sound, and it was putting out a red glow that lit up that gorge in the road in the darkest of night, almost like a full moon night, but it was infrared color. Everything was red. And so it scared the crap out of me, and I locked up my car and stopped it right in the middle of the freeway, and me and my girlfriend got out and watched this thing, and it just took off right in front of us. And I was scared to death, and that's pretty much my story of what happened in October 1973 on I-70. That was about 20 miles from Green River, Utah. It would be the nearest town. And later on, when I made a report about it to MUFON and was assigned the MUFON State Investigator, we did a lot of talking over the phone about the sighting. And during one of our conversations, he said, well, the Utah Launch Complex, you couldn't see it, but it was right across the road from where you were at, off in the trees and in the valley below. So that's why that UFO was there. It was monitoring the missile base and keeping an eye on the missile base, and that's how I ended up getting involved into this UFO investigation about 4 years ago, because when I made this report to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, I found out that it was at a missile base, and I felt there was a cover-up involved because I believed in UFOs and always have. I just never made this report until about 5 years ago. And just one thing led to another, so I started my own investigation. And then I met Robert Salas, and I met a bunch of other military people that had been at other military bases, like Brentwaters, where UFOs had invaded their airspace. They were picked up on radar. They were chased by jets. In this case, they were F-111s, were our top thing we had in 1973. And this thing took off and became a star like in a matter of seconds. Well, when you got F-111s, our best planes, chasing something that can become a star from a standing stop in seconds, I don't think it's our stuff. It's their stuff, and we're chasing it. So that started my whole investigation, but I really didn't get going on it until about 4 years ago.
Hey, Ken, did you really sit back and think about that experience and notice anything weird about it, other than, you saw a UFO? I mean, that's weird enough, but anything, like, personally, like, you felt different, like maybe missing time?
No, I never felt different. I mean, I was scared. I was scared to death. I've never, You know, if I had guns stuck in my face and I wasn't that scared. Okay.
Yeah,
the deer, I picked up some kind of vibes off the deer. The deer were running. They warned me right prior to me seeing the ship that the ship was there. They noticed. They felt it.
Stupid car.
And no, they were leaving. They were heading out, and they had good reason. That ship was coming down the valley. They sensed it. I didn't, but when I saw it, I felt the same fear the deer felt, is what I felt.
I know that.
And I wouldn't go an inch closer. I watched it, but I was just in shock. When you see something like that, you can't believe it. I mean, you know, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. You know, it just doesn't happen.
Your mind goes. Your mind starts doing the checklist. You know.
Hey, Ken. When I saw I went to Wales in 1997 with my boyfriend, his sister, their uncle. I had my son. And my fella sister had her son. We had 2 UFOs come over. One, they were in the clouds. One was in the clouds. One was landed on the ground. But, you know, we all were not behaving how we should be behaving. We were not reacting to it in any other way than we were watching fireworks. Then when everybody went in the house because the kids start getting scared, I was looking at everybody. Steve's doing the washing up. John and Daniel are watching the TV. Just gone straight in and just started doing these normal things. The kids started playing exactly where they were before we called everyone outside. I was the only person that was going, what the hell? I went outside by myself, stood right underneath this thing, and I had something running up behind me. I don't know what it was. I'm not even going to say that it was aliens because I didn't see. I have no idea. Something with 2 feet ran behind me, bumped into me, and I ran for my life, and I was literally blind. I could not see a damn thing because I was so bloody terrified. You know, it was like I was in a dream world until...
Well, we just stood there. Me and my girlfriend stood right in the middle of Interstate 70, about 20 miles from Green River. We were going eastbound, and there was nothing there but trees and mountains and this gorge and this ship, and I was just scared to death. I mean, the hair literally was standing up on my body, every single piece of hair, and it was tingling. I was tingling because that's how close I was to the ship. I was just, I mean, I couldn't speak. I was like frozen or something.
Yeah. It changes everything. And it's not even an instant shift. It's like a total gradual slide into this realization. But I'll tell you what, the realization was that I'm smaller than a grain of sand.
Your brain has to go through this process of throwing all this crap out that you thought made you for you to be able to digest it. You know what I mean? It's like, I got to throw this out. Got to throw this out. You know.
We drove all the way from Green River to Denver. That's about a 5-hour drive, I'm estimating. And we didn't hardly talk the whole way there.
No way.
We just got back in the car and started driving to Denver. And we were just, you know, it's like, did you see that? That might be the only thing we said for 5 straight hours, you know.
Yeah, that just happened.
And, you know, that could be like your brain's defense mechanism on dealing with that.
Yeah.
You know, we're just going to go do the dishes, or we're just going to go get in the car and drive and listen to Foghat on the 8-track. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I couldn't figure out why me, why out in the middle of nowhere. See, I'm a truck driver. I have my CDL. I have driven in every state, every highway, every city, 1 million miles, and never seen anything, okay?
Why then?
But this one night, driving my girlfriend's car back to Missouri from California in Utah, this happens. But what I ended up finding out was this is not an event that just I happened to see. I ran into Robert Solis at his base, same thing that happened at his base, and another guy at his base, and another guy at his base, on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this Brent Waters deal, and these guys are saying they're time travelers. I personally think they're aliens myself.
You know, Ken, you know what Larry says to me about the Rendlesham case, and he's absolutely right. He said to me, "Hey, kid, welcome to Disneyland on acid." And he was right, yeah. He says it's toxic, it's poison.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
my
just
God.
Mind-blowing.
Right. Yeah, but the
I sit
people
right here on my.
they're just vicious.
I sit right here on my fence and watch everybody eat each other. You know what I mean?
But no, I didn't have, nothing bad ever happened to me. I led a normal life. I worked for 30, 40 years. Yeah, I told my mom and dad and friends, yeah, I saw a UFO, and they said, sure, you know how they do.
Whatever.
But what happened was I was almost killed in a car wreck down here in Galveston on the seawall in 2005. And when I was laying in the hospital, I'm 60 years old, so when I was laying in the hospital, I started thinking, you know, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of here or not, and I started thinking about all the weird things that's happened to me and everything, and this one thing, this UFO sighting, I didn't know anything about it. I said, man, it's weird, you know, I'm gonna report this. So when I got out of the hospital, I had to learn to walk again because I was badly injured.
Oh, love.
But I made a report to the National UFO Reporting Center, and got the head guy sent me a really nasty email, said, you're a liar, you're this, that, and that. I thought, well, you know what? Why would somebody waste their time to make a report when they're doing it for free? When you're working for free, you're doing it for free just to have somebody raise holy hell with you because you made this crazy report, you know? So I went on and got hooked up with MUFON and made my report to them. And then, like I said, I got assigned to Utah Investigator, and we went over everything that happened, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of all these military guys that are all these bases that got invaded. And when I mean invaded, the airspace.
I don't even know how it happened, right, Ken? But I had my UFO sighting in 1997. I started talking about it in 2005. From 1997 to 2005, I've been going not so quietly mental. I started talking about it, and then I kind of started reading about the Rendlesham Forest incident. I got fascinated by it, and then I found myself absolutely slap bang in the middle of it all. I have no idea how. I think it was because I joined the Rendlesham Forest Incident Forum, where I saw John and John talking about psychological operations, etc., experiments, this, that, and the other, to him being the poor guy, right, he got bombarded, because you've got to understand that these people have looked into this to the nth degree, to the ridiculous degree. So each one of them had about 1,000 questions, and as soon as John started, musing what might have happened, he was absolutely buried, and I actually really felt for him, you know what I mean, because he just was being fired at, by everybody. 100 people were asking him.
I really feel sorry for John.
But Jim came out, he went off, and he came back with Jim, and they were talking about it. Neither of them knew what had gone on. This is 2009, 2010. Towards the middle of 2010, they both disappeared, said they were going to make an announcement. We've got evidence to prove that it was future people. But in 2010, neither of them had a clue. Yeah.
Well, you know what happened was they got debriefed and they used hard drugs on them. They screwed with their mind.
Totally. And I've said this all along, Ken, right? All you need to do in an incident like that is take 4 or 5 people. You don't need to mess with everybody. You just need to mess with 4 or 5 vocal people and tell them something slightly different, because that's all you need is slight inconsistencies for everybody to jump all over everything, and just let them go out there and let the crap roll out, and we can see the whole of the chronology of all of this animosity that has come about because of this situation over the past 2 years.
I asked Nick Pope personally, me, to help Jim and John, is what I did.
Well, it's beyond help, to be honest. They don't want help.
Well, I mean, this is back in 2008. Actually, 2009. I asked Nick Pope in 2009 personally to help these 2 guys, because I listened to them on a radio show like this, and they were just lost, man. They were just lost. And I sent an email to Nick Pope, and I said, Nick, you got to help these guys. These guys need help. And he said he'd try. And next thing I know, he's with both of them, and they're out there at the old forest walking around. So.
I know, but I've heard that he's not willing to write their book because all they want to do is slag people off, you know, and it's not even finalised the first draft of this amazing book with all the answers for humanity, with the codes and the blah, 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 you know, because...
Well, you know, when you make up one story, when you have one story, and then you try to change the story, it you know, it's...
Yeah, but while they're doing that, they're accusing everybody else of changing their stories when they have consistently been inconsistent about everything that they've said.
But I understand why they're inconsistent, because once again, when you go out there, you see something, and you're in the military, and they send you out there, and you go check it out, and something's really weird, and then you come back, and then they take you off somewhere and put you on drugs and screw with your mind. I mean, anybody would be upset and messed up over that stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I
feel sorry for them. I really feel sorry for those guys.
Well, no, I did until last year when they started being really vicious with people and saying the most horrific things to them. You know, because I understand all of that, and I absolutely agree with you. But there's a line, and it's a line that most people do not cross.
Well, they lost a lot of friends. They kicked a lot of people off their Facebook.
I was the first out.
Well, don't feel bad. I got kicked out too.
I was relieved.
Okay?
Well, listen, if they're going to write a book about it, you know what I mean? They have to. You know, that's the whole issue I have with a lot of these people. You know, they are. It becomes a shill. Whether you're
let's look
the Romanex or whoever, you know what I mean?
2010 they knew nothing, right? 2009 they knew nothing. 2010 they knew everything. 2010 they withdrew from speaking about what went on, and then the next thing you know, they've got a book coming out, and they're not going to give this message to humanity to anybody until it comes out in the book. Now, the future people that would not transfer information by binary because they would know that humans don't talk binary, and they would certainly have the foresight not to give it to somebody who was not going to tell the world.
Well, yeah. I can't, you know, everybody's got your viewpoint of what the deal is there, and there's a wide range of things, but one thing we all agree on is it wasn't a lighthouse. It was something really, truly happened there to these guys, okay? And they got screwed over, okay?
Yep, definitely. I'll go with that one, definitely.
We might disagree on exactly what it is, but they did get screwed over on the deal.
But I'll tell you what, the one person has been absolutely consistent from at least 1997 and even 1983, if you go back to the Lyndon Moulton Howe interview. Larry has been consistent with everything that he said, and to me, he's the only credible witness because of that fact. He has never changed his story.
Because he's not trying to make money or be on TV or whatever. Okay, there were other guys involved in this. Where are they?
Well, actually, new witnesses supposedly come forward. I've not looked into this yet because sometimes I just feel so drained by this. But I don't really know what they can bring to the table that's going to make anything give it any more clarity. Because every time somebody says something, it just whips up all the sediment from the bottom and muddies the water.
What about this big citizens hearing where they're going to be testifying at the press club in Washington, D.C., down the street from the White House, starting on the 29th to the 3rd.
They did it in September 2011 at the press club. You know, this is like, yeah, it's all making steps forward, but it's not leaps. You know,
yeah, but they got 40 people testifying, and Nick Pope's one of them, and John Burroughs is one of them, and they're all there. They're all going to testify.
Yeah, but you know what? Mainstream media
treats this
as a circus. They treat this National Press Club thing. They don't treat it as a legitimate thing. It's a circus to them. It's just
every single one of them has an agenda. Every single one of them has an agenda and or a mission that they're on. Gary Hesseltine, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't even there. Do you know what I mean? He's repeating stories that he said. His information is second-hand. Do you know what I mean? Larry Warren's not there. He's not talking there. Do you know? Why not?
Well, all I can say is, damn good thing I'm not there. I guarantee you, all hell would break loose if I was there.
Yeah, well, we need that, don't we? We need hell to break loose.
Yeah, dude, they would just demonize you. They would and blacklist you, you know, and
that's okay, because I just put it right back on the table so they could put it out.
Yeah, that's my whole problem with this whole thing.
I'm willing to mix it up with them. I'm willing to mix it up with the big boys. I'm not scared of them.
I'd love to be able to sit in the audience and ask them some questions, especially John and Jim, because they couldn't be vitriolic in that situation. And I think you'd see a repeat episode of the Angelia Joyner show where she really put them on the spot and asked them some very pertinent questions that deserved answers that were not difficult, that were not, leading anything, and they just couldn't step up. You know what I mean? They were floundering. So I find it, this press club thing, it's like, well, it's like the Disclosure Club. We had 400 witnesses there, and Greer's turned it into some massive ego fart,
Yeah, it's not about the data. It's not about the actual experience. It's about
the personalities. It's about personalities.
Right. Anybody who's like that, who's the idiot from Paratopia? The two idiots, Jeremy Vaney and Jeff Ritzman, they're the same way. You know what I mean? It's always about them. Those guys took a case from Emma Woods, who was
the David Jacobs fiasco.
She was completely exploited or whatever by David Jacobs. They turn around and did the same exact thing to her. Jeremy had a book coming out, got all sorts of press. Bud Hopkins' ex-wife, had a new DVD coming out. They all ganged up on Bud, and as soon as her stuff came out, everything got dropped.
Why did
you know what I mean?
It's their own name.
I don't know why. You know what? Here's my thing. Here's my thing with her. Okay, first of all, you allowed yourself to be hypnotized over the goddamn phone in another country 90-plus times. How can anybody, and I'm not even talking about Emma, I'm talking about David Jacobs, think that hypnotizing somebody over the phone has any kind of scientific merit? Doesn't.
He's dangerous.
You're completely not in control of the situation.
I think Jacob, he might just implant something in your head is what he might do.
Well,
an idea.
Yeah, but you have so many different outside sources that could mess with the other person on the phone. A car driving by, a light shining in the window.
Yeah, it's all pony show, man.
Yeah, and it's all and so much weight, and people's careers are built on this crap, and all it does is get spread everywhere. Bud Hopkins had a good heart. I mean, he really tried to do the right things. You know what I mean? I know he did. I don't before he died, and I don't know a lot that was going on with him then, but I know he really believed in what he was doing and tried to do, controlled whatever he was doing.
He tried to do it right.
Yeah, and there's a difference. So that whole Emma Woods is just an example of how everything just turns into a freaking circus. And
but that's what they want. They want to make a circus out of it. That throws everybody off the track, off the trail.
Yeah.
Well, it brings politics into the equation, and people cannot leave politics alone, and that's what they jump on. They don't jump on the actual evidence. They don't jump on what's being said. They jump on how it's being said and who's saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that as far as I'm concerned, there's no question that there's UFOs and aliens. There's no question that they're interacting with our military and with our nuclear weapons locations.
And the people of Earth.
The 1940s.
Yeah.
probably other species on the planet. You know what I mean? Who says they're even here visiting us?
But probably this is probably a way station in space, and they're stopping off the supplies.
But you know what? That's exactly what I think, Ken. You know, I said this is an interstellar pit stop. Yeah, all the resources are here. Yeah, and now we've got pea shooters, and we're like, no, it's ours, it's mine. And so now we've had all these issues, and we've had to have politics and deals and things like that, which we've obviously renege on all the time. And so then, you know, all this crap is happening because we can't stick to a deal, you know. And you know, it's not just about sightings. I've had experiences. Where I've seen ET and I've seen men in uniform. None of any of this Greer stuff kind of covers any of that. It's all benevolent. No, is it hell?
Well, it's about Greer, so if it's not about Greer, he doesn't cover it.
No, but you know, this is what we kind of have pedaled forward before everything else. Do you know what I mean? This is like the figurehead. Or that, you know, the mermaid that you have on the front of your ship. This is what is ploughing forward. There's the rest of the ship behind that, but you know, and that's what carries it forward. But you know, everybody's distracted, aren't they? Because they want comfort.
I'm working on the military end of this investigation, so I'm talking to all military people and people like that, and that's what I'm interested in. That's my
but
area
even the military people have had experiences. Adrian Bustinza, Larry Warren, at least, those two people had experiences prior to Rendlesham. When Larry and Adrian were walking towards Capel Green, Adrian turned and said to Larry, "This is just like what happened to me in Alaska." Right? Larry had experiences as a child. Before those guys went on that base, before they even left America, they were put through a psychological test to ask them about strange dreams and weird experiences. They were profiled for that, you know. And these people, not all of them, but some of these military people are actually been having weird experiences as well. So, you know, it pulls it all together for me. I started out looking for answers, then I started finding more questions than anything. I got embroiled in all the military stuff, which is my absolute favourite area, and I really can't wait to talk to you off air about all this. But these people are not just having experiences on base, you know, they've had them before. You know, personal.
I'm intrigued because my sighting was at a nuclear missile base.
Yeah.
I'm focused on other nuclear missile military bases. That's why I was involved in the Rendlesham Force thing. Brent Waters, Nick Pope, John, Jim, Larry, on and on and on. There's hundreds of these guys.
Yeah.
You should get in contact. Hey, Kenneth, you should get in contact with Frank Frascino.
I've never heard of him.
He did the whole thing on the Flatwood Monster and all that, and he has done an impeccable amount of research on
proper legwork.
Yeah, like covering his entire living room wall and maps and you know, that sort of thing. And he's been doing it for 30 years or something like that.
Well,
and
he would be an interesting guy to get to talk to.
He definitely is. Definitely.
Yeah.
He's in the military, like John Alexander or Nick Pope that used to be in the British
MOD.
Defense. Yeah. He still may be. I don't know, you know, but anyway.
No way, not anymore. He's gone crazy. He looks like the mad professor out of Back to the Future.
Anyway, I love talking to these guys because it's the military angle that I'm really working on.
Yeah.
And that's the one that gets them screwed up every time is when you get on the military part.
Isn't it just? Welcome to Disneyland on acid.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's what I would say.
Listen, man. I mean, there's scientist by the name of Joe Resnick. I've interviewed him a couple times before on different shows, that I was on, and he was involved in making the stealth coating for planes. He does separate uniforms. He was a NASA scientist and all this stuff. He came right out and said he was on a base, and he was talking with a military guy, and another military guy walked up, but he just kind of didn't look right. Okay, and he flat out said that when he blinked its eyes, it was not human. Those were not human eyes, and the guy was just, he's like, I really can't get into a lot of stuff, but I can tell you that, the stuff is real. There's, I don't know if there's one species, I don't know if there's 1,000 species, I don't know any of that. I do know that he said that they are integrated within our military. He does not know about, in certain aspects of our military. He was doing DOD stuff, top secrets, working on top secret stuff. So I assume that that's like the level that they're at. Whether it's, I'm not even going to speculate while they're there, but
well, I always joke around with everybody. They said, "What are you going to do if the men in black show up?" I said, "I'm going to capture them." Is what I'm going to do.
Kick them in the nuts, man.
Shine a light in their eyes and said, "Tell me, Diablo, tell me."
Flashy thingy me, man. Don't flashy thingy me.
I think all that was the CIA.
You have to keep a sense of humor about this because I'm very serious about it. This is a serious issue. This is not a joke. This is real. I mean, humans could do something to piss some of these aliens off, like maybe the nuclear thing, and we could have a big UFO wave like we had 1973. It was the largest worldwide UFO wave that we've had. It goes back to 1973. You can look it up. It was worldwide. And it was all about this nuclear thing. So we could have it could happen again. So I'm concerned because I don't think we've learned much. We still have nukes, and we still might set them off. So I'm concerned. I really am.
What do you think to Richard Dole and Bryce Zabel's kind of breakaway civilization concept then? That maybe, that there's there's a race of people, or there are some people on this planet who know about all this kind of tech from whatever and however, but they're using it, and maybe they're even kind of like with the Cold War as it was and the danger that we were all in, have highlighted the fact of how vulnerable our nuclear industry was by, kind of appearing above nuclear bases and using this breakaway civilization technology to kind of intimidate people into thinking, oh, right, we better sort of like pull ourselves.
Well, I think a certain group of aliens are concerned about the nuclear issue, and that's why they show up at all these nuclear bases.
Yeah.
Are they still showing up at nuclear bases?
I feel like they're warning us is what they're doing.
That is a good question.
Are they still showing up? Because the things that I'm hearing is that...
showing up to this day. To this day, they're still showing up. They sure are.
What's the most recent case that you've heard of then? Because I'm
there's that one gentleman that put on the UFO nuke press conference. I don't know if you've seen that video on YouTube.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got a list of bases, and I think one just happened a couple years ago or last year at one of our missile bases. So it's an ongoing problem. It's not as bad as it used to be, but the problem is we haven't been shooting off a lot of nukes lately.
We're not
so
as bad
if
as
we shoot off a bunch of nukes, they might, start coming out of the woodwork. You never know on this,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just. I'm not seeing anything. All I'm hearing are just really old stories.
Well, what about the O'Hara? The O'Hara UFO report. Have you seen that one that happened a few years ago up in Chicago?
Yeah, and that was treated pretty well by the press. I was very shocked because it happened in a very large public place. There were serious officials that saw it, but here's my thing with that. There was, it went through the clouds. I mean, it left like a wake through a trout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a hole.
Yeah.
Now there were so many. It was in an airport. All these people saw it, and there is no video. There's no pictures. There's nothing. The guy who was investigating it was on all the shows. They were talking about it, and then boom, this story died like a frickin', a brick being thrown into water. It just, boom, it disappeared and never came back.
And all of that.
Kind of like a UFO right off the radar.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was all out there, and then it was wham. The lid was shut on this. There are no pictures. You were at an airport. There are thousands of people there.
Well, I heard there is a picture. That's what I heard.
Why only one? Listen, right? I take pictures of weird shit all the time.
Got the picture.
Look,
I'm sure there were more pictures, and I'm sure there was lots of other data that.
What's that Hollywood movie star that played in Coneheads? That is a big UFO guy.
Dan Aykroyd. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the picture. That's what I heard.
Yeah, but how can there only be one picture? Right, you're talking an airport here. You're talking in the middle of Chicago.
He's got the connections, and he's a big UFO guy.
I'll tell you what. There's people like me out there who would say, I'll tell you what, here's 2 fingers, that's what you're having. I'm keeping this photograph and I'm putting it out there. You know, there's no way that he managed to contact every person that might have seen it because there's so many unknowns around and about who could have photographed it, who could have filmed it.
I'm telling you.
Sure. Yeah, but he can't know all of the people that might be wandering around or driving or, stop, pull up, all of those passengers, all of those people going on holiday, all of those people landing in an airport. You're talking thousands of people. There would be more than one photograph. And Dan Aykroyd would not be able to locate everybody to pay him off or to buy the evidence or anything. There's just no way.
There was one known.
But that doesn't mean I don't believe it didn't happen because I think it really did. Something went on.
There was one known picture that I know of that I heard David Biedny talking about. He's seen it. And it was a picture taken from a plane window with a camera phone. Now, there are tons of people with camera phones back then. You know what I mean?
It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, you're talking about people in the tower are looking at this thing. Okay, FAA treated it very serious because they're like, whoa, it totally caught them with their pants down. It's not something that they could just refer somebody to Endis to report. You know what I mean? It was right in their face with thousands of people, and they let it breathe a little bit, and then they clamped down on it. I don't know if the FAA clamped down on it, but somebody did. Somebody went and basically did a cleanup job, whether it be a corporation, a subcontractor, whatever, and went through all the passenger lists, and I guarantee they scrubbed that whole.
Let me just say one thing: instant uploads. Everything I take a photograph of is on Facebook within 2 seconds.
Right. It was actually before
only 3 years. It's not at all. Because I'll tell you something. It's 3 years ago, Guy. I remember it well. I was, this is not like, ancient history. This is within the time frame of Facebook because I've talked about it on Facebook.
Yeah. But I don't think Facebook was. That was kind of like the early stages of Facebook in a sense. I don't think that it wasn't like built into their. People don't do anything unless it's easy. You know what I'm saying? There's no Instagram. There was no when Facebook started out, that really wasn't very easy to upload your stuff, and they used Flash, and it was just a real crappy setup. I think if people actually had those, like you were saying, like if people actually had the pictures, still had the pictures, we would have been seeing them on Facebook right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is the,
because I've got
problem.
Stuff. And somebody scrubbed it. Somebody had to have gone through, if it really happened, which I believe it did.
Yeah.
If it really happened, listen.
Well, I got the news report, the official news report. Have you all seen that from the TV station?
Yeah.
They put it on TV in Chicago.
And they treated it serious.
Right.
Listen. When we were talking about earlier about Rendlesham, when we were talking about the not necessarily mind control experience, but basically a group of individuals that control the nuclear whatever, they have their own military. This group is in Sacha's paperwork. This group of nuclear, I forget the exact what they're called.
Department of Nuclear Affairs.
Yeah, something like that. They have their own freaking military. Okay, they are the ones that go out. And they're completely, they're like a completely almost secret organization. They're kind of like the SS. They don't answer to the military. They
well, in the documents it talks about setting up a nuclear security agency, which was the NSA. That was the acronym then.
Yeah. And George Knapp ran into them. And George basically said, I'm alive because I was like a celebrity. When there was I don't remember when this happened. It was fairly recent. Guy fishing in a pontoon boat going down the Colorado River by Needles saw a object, he said, that looked like a ship go overhead and then crash into the desert. And it was sand. It was like sand dunes and stuff. And when he was out investigating that, he ran into these guys. And they recognized him, and they told him this stuff like, you would be gone right now. But hey, we really dig you, dude.
Well, those are the guys I'm looking for. If you know where they are, you can send them my way. I want to talk to them.
I don't want to know them. I don't want them to know me.
They know you. Hey, I've just looked online. It was 2006 that O'Hare thing. I can't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah. And it was a very eye-opening experience. That's why at Area 51 they expanded the fence. And those security people, if you go up there and you cross that boundary, those people, which are probably the same people, will kill you.
Yep. They'll
kill you. They'll shoot you dead. So, that's how this is. There's this huge. There's the UFO community running around, scrambling for scraps of information. Yeah, they're just running around trying to pick up little scraps of information, and they have one little piece of information, and then they build this whole bullshit around it. Or, sorry, Joe, they build all this BS around it to, try to form a cohesive story or case. Okay, sometimes you get lucky, like Stanton Friedman, or Grant Cameron. These people get information sent to them or whatever, But then you actually go up to how it really is, and there's no information being leaked, and there's no access to these people. If you do get to the point to where you're going to access these people, they either bring you in or they kill you.
I'll tell you what, the only time that you will ever come into contact with these people is if they decide to talk to you, which they have done with Larry Warren. You know, you'll go, I've often wondered if I would ever have anything like this happen, but, you know, touch wood, she says, touching the forehead.
Because he had an experience. He has lived by that experience. He hasn't changed his story. He's not running around being an idiot, writing books, being a douchebag, okay? It's the same with Travis Walton. Yeah. Travis Walton had an experience. It kicked his ass. Okay, he wrote a book to tell his experience. All these other people that around him had all the blowback and had all the other things happen to them.
The fallout.
Right, because of his experience.
Yeah.
These are the type of people that have really great credibility because they're not out there. They're like, hey, this is what happened to me.
And that's it.
Yeah, they're not. Nobody in the military and nobody with this type of information, the actual information, is going to talk to people like that.
Yeah, they're not going to target people who are peddling a philosophy.
Yeah, they're not going to talk to anybody who are in this for themselves or make things about themselves. Believe me, they have a database of all these people, and there are people that would actually do well in their organization, okay, that are investigating this, and those are the people that, if they contact anybody, it's them. They're not going to contact, or what they're going to do, they probably have a whole department of silly idiots where they
the
go and
Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yeah, exactly, where they just have fun messing with all these other idiots like Hoagland and all these people.
Yeah,
listen, people,
not everybody's an idiot. Not everybody's an idiot, though, are they? I mean, this is the
That's
thing.
That's what I'm talking about. There's a whole group of people, like the Hoaglands and the Alfred Webbers and the, all people that are running around for all the scraps, and they're hissing at each other and, and then you have groups of people that, like the Stan Friedmans and you know who I'm talking about, people that are that know their stuff, and if these nuclear people or whatever are going to talk to anybody in this field and give out any information, it's going to be them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to just mess with the other ones and let them just keep chasing their tails to just keep them out of the way.
Ken, have you had any harassment because of your dealings with the military people? Do you feel like you've had your phone tapped or you've been followed or any of that other stuff?
No, what happened was after I made my report from MUFON, and MUFON didn't do anything, I decided, okay, it's time to go to the FBI. So I went to the FBI.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I went to the FBI. We got a big headquarters here in Houston. It's one of the biggest in the United States. Probably L.A., Chicago, New York, and Houston are the biggest. Anyway, I went in there and told them my case. Made a report to the FBI, just like I did MUFON and the National Reporting Center. And I got a guy when I went in there. They're called duty agents. They don't give you their name. You go in, you file a complaint with the FBI. They put you in this little room and they talk to you, and, sometimes they write stuff down. They probably record it, but you don't know they're recording what you say. But anyway, and I was talking to the guy, and he was a real nice guy, and but he, he just didn't want to believe me with my story. So I pulled out a paper from October 1973, the 25th of October, and I said, this paper was given was sent out by the director of the FBI. It was a copy of the paper where he had to respond to the public in October 1973 because of this UFO wave that was going on in the United States and around the world. Everybody was calling the FBI and making reports. They were scared. They didn't know what was going on. And I pulled the paper out and I said, right here's the director. And in it says that, the FBI never has had the jurisdiction to investigate UFOs, and he's sorry that he can't help. He wish he could, but at this time he can't. And I gave it to him, and he kind of freaked out when he saw it. And I was in there probably about an hour talking to him, but I didn't get much out of the guy. But one thing I did get from him, right as I was leaving, I said, now, am I going to have any weird phone calls from any DOD men in black ops or anything going to come ask me any questions since I came down here and gave you the report? And he said, no, if you have any problem, just come back to the FBI. So if I have any problems with anybody about anything, I'll be in FBI headquarters in about 30 minutes filing a search complaint. So I'm not really worried about it.
On that note, we're actually going into
somebody else's show. Sorry, Erica.
Down, Joe. I'm waiting for the 10 minutes. So Eric, we love you, man. She was hitting on me. She was totally flirting with me.
Cluesy. Ken, you've been great. I want to talk to you some more, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you guys and gals. I'm down here in Houston. It's about 80 degrees. It's been cloudy, a little breeze. It's been a long winter this year here in the States. Long winter.
Same here. We've got 4 a.m. in the morning here, and it is dark.
Yeah. How many hours are you behind us?
I don't know. I've got dyscloxia. I have no idea. A guy has to tell me, be online at this time.
And I got to go figure it out. I'm on Google, like, well, if it's 8 o'clock here.
Counting backwards with our toes.
Okay, well, is there going to be any place that could you all post on my wall or anything to show?
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Absolutely.
All right,
okay,
Kenneth.
Well, that's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great talking again. We were supposed to have him on a couple of weeks ago, but we were sick. And
I know. I totaled my car out the same day.
No, I had the terrible flu in the universe. I caught man flu.
Oh, man.
That was awful.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It was a rough day for everybody.
Yeah. Well, you take care of yourself, Ken, and thanks for coming on. You've been a brilliant guest. And,
I'm looking forward to see what happens on this citizens hearing for 4 days in Washington coming up here, the 29th to the 3rd.
I love this stuff. It's commendable.
I'm counting on Nick Pope to come through for me.
Yeah. I'm not counting on Jim and John.
That's another whole story, okay?
All right, man. Love and kisses, everybody. We got to go. All right, bye-bye.
Paranormal and controversial radio, based on real events with real people. Visit citizensaneradio.com to listen to more free podcasts